Good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carl Watson, and I'm currently Head of Technology Strategy for Government Technology Services. For today's presentation, I'm pleased to be joined by Paul Watson, who is GTS Head of Delivery. Now, a lot of people ask me whether either Paul and I are related, but we're not. But we do share similar traits for our love of development, a penchant for digital public services, and grumpiness, allegedly. So, well, they say time flies when you're having fun, and that is certainly the case for me. When pulling together the content of this presentation, I realised that 28 years ago this very week, I initially joined GTS, or the Information Systems Division as it was back then, as a trainee analyst programmer. I was fresh-faced, with a head full of hair, and as with technology, a lot has changed in those 28 years. So, throughout my time, I've worked on a multitude of platforms and systems, ranging from legacy mainframe to enterprise system integration solutions. Over my time, my role has evolved into leading the GTS design function by designing and implementing enterprise platforms and reducing data and functional footprints. As Head of Technology Strategy, I'm responsible for the GTS Technology Strategy and associated technical code of practice and standards that are determined through the Technology Strategy Board, of which I am chairperson. I appreciate that we're getting to that time of day when the mid-afternoon slump may kick in, so I'd like to take this opportunity to give thanks to today's sponsors for providing much-needed sustenance and coffee throughout the day. And of course, I'd like to thank the Digital Agency for giving GTS the opportunity to present to you today. So, enough about me. Today's presentation is focused on digital government as a business enabler and the role that the recently published digital strategy plays. One of the challenges of writing this presentation was where to start. And of course, where better to start than the beginning. So, another challenge that we faced when writing this presentation was to show the number of systems that we've implemented over the years and how they are related. However, that would have ended up looking like the Uber microservice diagram, and nobody really wants to see that. So we thought about putting our systems into generational groups, and as GTS is my universe, well, certainly from a career perspective at least, I thought it would be best to represent it as cosmic inflation. So the point of singularity and first reference to the Isle of Man government's use of computers was documented in the Tynwald sitting on July 19th, 1965, where it was mentioned that a delay in the 1961 census report was, and I quote, due to the pressures of work on statisticians and the shortage of computer time in the United Kingdom, so quite possibly a forebear to cloud computing. This was almost 10 years prior to the formation of GTS, or Computer Section of the Treasury, as it was originally named. Originally staffed with 5 people, the computer section didn't actually have a computer. But that didn't stop the section from writing the first financial systems, including payroll. So whilst the code for these systems were written on Ireland, the source code was outputted, batched onto a punch card, sent to a processing facility in the UK, where they would be compiled and subsequently hosted. And these first batch systems were also executed remotely as well. So trailblazing infrastructure as a service in 1974, I think that's certainly something to shout about. Of course, the computer section wasn't without a computer for too long, and in 1976 they took delivery of the first Sperry Univac 9030 mainframe, which boasted, and I quote, a central processing unit with 64K bytes of memory, 2 disk drives with a total capacity of 50 megabytes, 2 card punchers, a card reader, and a line printer. And I'm sure that the salesperson would have mentioned that you wouldn't ever need more than that. From here, the Isle of Man government continued to write batch systems such as the Central Property Database, along with central financial systems that acted as the backbone for all public digital services. Technology advancement in those early years led to the implementation of terminal computing throughout central government, and by 1979 the Isle of Man government took delivery of a more powerful mainframe, and with it saw the first transactional services delivered. Heading into the 1980s, the now named Information Systems Division started to deliver enterprise transaction systems to a wider number of departments. Systems including the first income tax system and later the national insurance system took advantage of the increased processing power and resources made available through larger networks and improved infrastructure. By 1987, the first publicly accessible systems through the company's registry were made available in the registry buildings for the public to use. Fast forward to the 1990s, and we started to implement more enterprise platform-based solutions, replacing some of the first mainframe systems. The more technology advanced, the more choice and options we had as an organisation to deliver systems. Off-the-shelf solutions were now becoming more commonplace and were viewed as a cost-effective solution. Apart from some public counter services, the Information Systems Division's primary support remit was limited to internal systems. However, that all changed in 1995 with the delivery of Gov.im. informational digital public services have been realised, with further deliveries over the next decade and beyond, including formative one-way transactions towards the end of the 1990s. And of course, Y2K forced us all to dust off our COBOL and RPG2 skills, ensuring that our legacy state would not succumb to the millennium bug. 2005 saw the launch of online services providing a breakthrough in digital service delivery by offering customers full two-way transaction services with back-office government systems in real time. It is worth noting that online services to date has over 60,000 active accounts and has processed over £4.6 billion worth of payments. From here, GTS started to give strategic focus to technology and its implementation throughout the organisation through the delivery of the first digital strategy in 2015, with specific reference to the digital technology and how it can and will improve government services for the good of the island. The advent of COVID in 2020 dictated the uptake of new methods of delivery in an agile fashion. The need for a quick turnaround of systems from design and development to production called for the use of platforms to realise back-office functions and the exploitation of proven methods of integration and public service delivery through services.gov.in. These platforms proved invaluable in supplying key public services in unprecedented and uncertain times. And lastly, in-flight developments are now starting to exploit and realise microservices through API-driven architectures that not only promote and reuse across the estate, but offer us options to allow for applications and services to be accessible programmatically both internally and externally over the internet to our business customers, partners and suppliers. So, where does the digital strategy fit into this? In 2015, the 2015 digital strategy focused on improving the maturity around the delivery of technology projects and highlighted the importance of a strategic approach to digital service delivery by focusing on priorities, targeted investments and raising the profile of digital outcomes. It was hugely successful and realised £10.3 million of cashable benefits, along with a further £22 million in indirect benefits, with a total of 11 major national level programmes completed. From this year, the current digital strategy will take forward the previous outcomes through the following themes. Firstly, we have our digital framework. This will set the solid foundation through the creation of technology frameworks to be utilised across the Isle of Man government for digital delivery, including standards, practices and tools. Digital transformation will build on existing digital enablements by referencing the digital framework to modernise and transform government services and their delivery to our customers. And digital endurance will ensure the transformation of services is sustainable and promote the continual improvement of public digital services both now and into the future. The adoption of these themes will result in the realisation of positive outcomes to our customers. Our customer focus for our citizens, the continued delivery of citizen-centric digital services that will benefit island residents and visitors to the island. For our business, services that focus on the outcomes to benefit local business and encourage new business growth and attract new industry to the island. For the government, the focus on the frameworks that need to be in place to realise the transformation of our digital public services. The digital strategy is primarily aligned with the overall strategic direction of the Isle of Man government and complements the focus and goals set throughout wider government. It strives to realise this through enabling innovative technologies that challenge current services and for public services to be increasingly digitally enabled. It also challenges some of the perceptions about government digital enablement and its use of data as detailed in the economic strategy. And of course, GTS's own service information and technology strategies are also aligned with these themes detailed in the digital strategy. The GTS technology strategy has several themes related to technology choice, flex, implementation, standards and security. And the one theme I want to focus on today is innovation. Through challenging the status quo, we can improve the way that we work and collaborate to realise streamlined and lean functions that benefit the Isle of Man government, our customers and the wider economy. The digital strategy is fully supportive of using innovative technology and understands that innovation covers more than just technology. It also covers how it is implemented and the processes that it supports. For public digital services, review and optimisation of processes plays a key part in any technology implementation, and innovation is a key driver. Technology principles such as public cloud, automation, big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, fintech and green digital are not new concepts within the wider technology industry, but they pose significant challenges for implementation within an organisation like ours. But that does not mean that they should not be considered. Implementation of innovative technology and methods needs to be done with consideration and must complement business growth and diversity and not be adapted as the result of a trend. Through collaboration, we expect not only for our public digital services to derive benefit, but we also expect that it will influence and encourage growth of technical sectors and skills in the wider economy. So, whilst online services facilitated the enablement of digital services to our customers, it did so in a way that focused on two-way transactions through the services.gov.in platform. It is no secret that there are opportunities to be realised through challenging what we do in this space, and this is certainly the case from a technology perspective. By challenging and transforming our digital public service offering, we can look to exploit better ways for business to engage with the Isle of Man government through adopting industry standard methods of system integration. By doing that, we can start to realise the benefits of providing government to business and business to government services in a secure and robust API architecture. By doing this, we aim to offer our businesses the option to be able to interact directly with our services in a system-to-system context. Through internal system transformation and the reuse of established and proven methods, we as a government will ensure that our systems and processes are aligned with this method of processing. And of course, as with all of our digital public services, governance regarding GDPR, technical and security standards, along with digital inclusion, is at the forefront of our thinking when delivering new digital public services, ensuring that our services are accessible to all, whilst not compromising on privacy, security and best practices. Additionally, identified digital service improvements along with new deliverables and outcomes are key to the transformation of and promotion of digital services to benefit our local business sector. And to highlight the business-focused deliverables, I would like to invite Paul to the stage to detail further. Paul.
Well, I didn't trip on those steps, so that's a good start. So, good afternoon everybody, I'm Paul Watson. I'm Head of Delivery for GTS. Essentially it's my role to turn the ideas and the concepts that Carl's talking about in the digital strategy into practical delivery and implementation. As you've heard from Carl, the digital strategy sets a wide-ranging and ambitious direction for transforming government's technology services. For the next few minutes I'm going to dive into a little bit of detail about what this means for business on a practical level. Let's see if I can get things going. In developing the business elements of the digital strategy, we outlined three major areas that we wanted to focus on. The first is business as a customer. It almost goes without saying that as government takes our next steps in the digital transformation, an increasing number of online services will become available for businesses to use. Modernising government's digital channels is a major part of the strategy. We'll be providing a curated service catalogue to assist business interact with government services conveniently in one place and without diluting this amongst citizen services as is currently the case. These elements are no doubt what you expected us to say and expected us to do, and whilst very useful for you, aren't particularly innovative. That's where Tell Us Once comes in. Integration is an important part of the digital strategy. This is especially true for Tell Us Once programme. This is one of the most ambitious parts of the digital strategy, and if we successfully enable it, it will become a major benefit, not just for frictionless citizen services, but also for business services too. Behind Tell Us Once is the concept that many activities you perform with government requires engagement with multiple parts of government. So for instance, moving to the Isle of Man. On average, a person moving to the island interacts with almost every department and completes applications for around 40 different services that are either provided by government or provided or linked to government. This can be a huge hindrance to business, attracting new employees to the island. This is true for establishing new businesses here too. The Tell Us Once programme will identify services and systems that would benefit from closer technical integration and deliver the projects to achieve this in accordance with the GDPR pieces that Carl was just talking about a second ago. We're already working on the first pilot service for this. We're already working on the first pilot service that will use this approach with the new change of address service. So we're starting in a simple place, but it represents many of the challenges we face across government in trying to link data. By leveraging the data held in the Property Gazetteer and adopting an API native approach for what we're referring to as subscribing systems, we're aiming to have this service online in Q1 of 2023. So the first beneficiary of that is likely to be Social Security. The second area is business as a delivery partner for government. Many of the solutions and services that will be delivered through the digital strategy will require procurement and close working partnership with government and the local technology sector. However, we know the traditional procurement approach isn't always suitable or responsive enough. To address this and to learn from other jurisdictions, we'll be creating a new digital marketplace. This will be a service that will allow government to conduct due diligence and comply with procurement regulations in advance and present a service catalogue internally ready for GTS, government departments and agencies to engage quickly and more responsively. Collaboration with government's procurement divisions already started, and the delivery team will form later this month. We hope that this will provide opportunities for businesses to effectively present solutions internally to government and services to departments and allow us to enable much faster delivery. In addition to the digital marketplace, a new digital rulebook will outline the technical standards and policies, ensuring a coherent technical platform is in place and in a way that will support the Tell Us Once approach. The first element of this, the technical code of practice, is already published online and made available as part of procurement activity. Finally, the Paperless Government Programme will be a major driver for increasing procurement activity itself as government departments transform from paper and Excel-based systems into more digital processing and online services. The third area is government supporting business innovation. Now, we recognise that government and innovation aren't traditionally two words that go together, and government enabling private sector innovation is even more rare. However, the digital strategy provides a few areas that will either depend on private sector innovation or will lead to government providing the means for innovation. Green tech considerations will form part of all future tender exercises. This will provide opportunities for approaches to deliver technology strategy and scenarios that technology can assist to avoid emissions or deliver environmental benefits. A major part of the digital strategy is to modernise traditional processes throughout government. Process automation and opportunities to automate long-standing manual operations will be a growth area over the next few years. As well as automating processes from legacy and desktop applications, we're expecting to see much greater use of the Internet of Things. Smart use of connected devices that can automate data collection or service use will be a focus point over the coming years. In terms of knowledge, this isn't an area that me or Carl are particular experts in. However, we see government's role as being enablers through integration, optimising connectivity for government systems, and providing scalable data platforms. This will put government services into a position where innovation coming from the private sector can be better used inside the public sector. An area for innovation that Carl and I are particularly keen to enable is the publishing and increased amount of open data sets. We've had a very small taste of this with applications developed using Job Centre and bus route data, as well as the approach to data transparency throughout the pandemic. But the potential is much greater. That's why in Q2 of next year, we'll be forming a new data services team, with one of the main targets for the team being the delivery of data.gov.im. This will be a new online platform for government dashboards, reports, and of course open data sets. For as many opportunities as this new platform will provide, the smarter use of government data goes beyond just publishing data sets for private sector use and others. Maintaining the theme of integration that is present throughout the strategy, 2024 will see an increase in availability of published APIs that can be used to enable verification against government data sets or leverage government microservices. We believe that this presents some really interesting opportunities for innovation, as well as improving government's capability for delivering smart solutions into the future. One of the major drivers for the digital strategy is enablement. We're putting in place the building blocks for government to take the next steps in its digital transformation journey. Identifying the specific services that will be amongst the first to benefit from these new opportunities will be a collaboration between GTS, government services, and we would like as much input from citizens and businesses as we can get. As part of this, we'll be establishing a new digital engagement forum to gain detailed in-person feedback, an increasing number of consultation exercises, and of course officers like Carl, myself, and the GTS Exec Director, Nick Cleese, are always happy to discuss in more detail. We would love as many people as possible to help us identify what the customer priorities should be. We know the landscape will change over the coming years, so at the moment we're not really planning beyond 12 to 18 months. Much of the first year is about putting in place a solid platform for governance, delivery, and early benefits realisation. We're targeting Q1 2023 to establish all of the programme boards, terms of reference, and initial candidate service identification. Q2 will shift focus onto the engagement channels and refine the candidate service list, as well as publishing an early release of the new gov.im platform. And in Q3, we'll see the creation of the digital marketplace and the data platform. Q4 of 2023, we're expecting to launch the first round of non-pilot services built for the new Tell Us Once standards. And finally, if the last 2 years have taught us anything, it's that trying to plan a roadmap beyond 12 months is futile. However, we're hoping that by 2024, the frameworks will largely be in place and we'll begin to ramp up the maturity in some of the smarter areas of the digital strategy ambition. Thank you very much for listening. I'll hand back to Carl.
Thank you, Paul. So, in summary, the digital strategy and its associated outcomes, as detailed by Paul, not only takes forward the strong foundations implemented by its predecessor, but it is also focused on how we can transform our digital services for better business engagement. Technology is a determinant for economic growth, and we need to ensure that our associated strategies and operational roadmaps are fully aligned with the Island Plan, economic and departmental strategies. Public services for our customers are more important than ever. And it is crucial that we build upon the good governance and processes that we've put in place over the years to ensure that our future systems offer the best for our businesses, our citizens, and of course, our government. And with that, I'd like to thank you for listening today. It's been a pleasure to present to you. If anyone has any questions or would like to catch either myself or Paul later this afternoon, we'll be around for the rest of the event. Thank you very much.